Sorry for the wait, y'all miss me. It's your head honcho Grim Reapsol Dark 61, and welcome back to another video. And last time, so you see my last video, I've read the story from the scary stories to tell in the dark section, which was Cold as Clay. And now, today I'll be reading another scary story from the same section as the story Cold as Clay. But this time, this story is gonna be called, which, but no matter, the rich introducing sounds. That's it. That's just the name of the title of this. That's the name of the story. Just sounds. Wonder, I wonder what's it about. Well, let's check in the description, shall we? It's a true ghost story about a haunted house in Mobile, Alabama, called the Madison House. Three men who tried to stay the night in the old place hear terrifying noises and see something that chills them to the bone. A version of this story appeared in the book Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And actually, based on this picture, it just shows a picture of a window. It just shows the picture of a window. You won $1,000 free Robux. That's just a scam. Kids, don't ever let these ads like these fool you. They're just tricking you into thinking that's real, but it's not. That's why money doesn't grow on trees. But no matter. Let's just get on with the story. So here you go, guys. This is sounds. Enjoy. A long time ago, there was a house that stood on the bay near Mobile, Alabama. It was known as the Madison House, and it had been vacant and boarded up for years. Most people in the area kept well away from it, frightened by its uncanny reputation. Anyone who passed by couldn't help wondering what evil had transpired in the old place. Trespassers who dared to enter the old house usually fled during the night, telling tales so grisly that they were almost beyond belief. One night, three fishermen were caught in a quick-moving storm and managed to make their way back to shore. Drenched by the rain, they spotted the mansion and decided to take shelter in the rickety old place. Giddy 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 giddy. I'm trying to do that giddy sound that Quagmire makes in Family Guy. Giddy giddy giddy. Okay, I can. I can't do it that fast. Once inside, they made a fire in the fireplace to keep themselves warm and ate a cold supper. Then the three men pulled their all oilskin coats tightly around them and lay down on the floor to try and get some sleep. However, as soon as they dozed off, they were plagued by terrible nightmares of treachery and murder. Lying awake, the men heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps upstairs. It sounded like more than one person marching back and forth. "Who's there?" called one of the fishermen. The footsteps suddenly stopped. There was a woman. They heard a woman scream. The scream turned into a groan and died away. The house was quiet again. Just then, the man who had called out felt something splash against his forehead. Something was dripping from the ceiling and forming a small red puddle on the floor. To their horror, the fishermen realized it was blood. All of a sudden, a door upstairs crashed open, and the floor shook with the sound of heavy footsteps. It sounded like a woman was being chased by a man. The frightened fisherman heard disembodied voices in the darkness. A man shouted in anger. A woman cried out in pain. They heard objects being flung here and there with a crash. Long howls of horrible laughter rose and filled the house. It went on and on until the fishermen thought they would go mad. Then there was silence. The fishermen huddled together and listened. After a few minutes, they heard something crawling coming down the stairs. It sounded like someone dragged something heavy that bumped on each rotten step. The scraping and thumping noises came through the front hall, and the front door opened. It sounded like something was flung open. Was flung outside, landing with a thump among the weeds. Then the door slammed shut again. There was silence. There was a thunderstorm outside, and the house trembled as if it was about to collapse. Rain was pounding against the sagging walls. The terrified fishermen couldn't bear to stay in the place a moment longer and decided to flee. Just as they reached the door, a flash of lightning filled every room in the house with a green blaze, and one of the men saw a ghastly face staring at them from the stairs. It was so horrible that it looked as if it came from hell itself. A crash of thunder deafened the terrified men, and they ran out into the storm, never to return. Nobody ever knew for sure what terrible deeds had been done in that house. The mansion was built shortly after the American Revolution by an Englishman named Madison, who was a rich recluse. He lived there with his daughter, who was said to be mentally ill. Nobody ever saw her, and the servants were kept away from her. They never had any visitors and never went out. One day, without a word of warning, Madison suddenly felt for England, and Madison suddenly left for England and wrote to his servants, instructing them to sell the house. The daughter was never found. She just disappeared. After that, the house changed hands many times, but nobody could ever stay there for long. Jesus, that was intense. That was intense. I guess all that noises and all those crazy shit that was happening in the house while those three fishermen were inside the house. I guess that was most probably the most probably be the ghost of Madison's daughter, who's like waiting for her, who's waiting a very long time for her father to come to return home. Just like that old saying about how father left his son at home to go, just like how just like this old saying about a father who left the house to go get some milk, but never returned with the gallon of milk. Alright guys, so that was sounds. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know which other stories you would want me to read. Well, well, if we could like go over here. Here's yeah. By now, sorry. There's other kinds of stories like these. There's just other types of stories like scary stories, horror, creepy stories, some stuff like that. Yeah, basically this website has a bunch of sections of stories that are scary and another way like that. But overall, this was really a nice story, scary story. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.